Well, Brooklyn shot the ball extremely well, Skip. I mean, they're 11 for 20 in the first half, 64% from the floor. When you outscore your opponent by 24 from the three-point line, when you have those kind of guys, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to get back into the ball game if you're down by 21 at the half and you got KD and Kyrie locked in, and now Seth Curry, he can't miss. You're going to face an uphill climb. Last night, Brooklyn was the better team. They played extremely well. And as Jen mentioned in the read, Skip, James Harden couldn't buy a basket. It looked like one of those situations where they played Golden State, Skip. You remember he's like, 3 of 24, and they just kept chunking up three after three after three, and nothing seemed to go in. And it seemed like everything that the Brooklyn Nets put up was going into the basket. They couldn't miss from three early on. Give those guys credit. They did a great job. Joel Embiid, I thought Joel Embiid was going to shoot 40 free throws last night, Skip. He had 13 in the first quarter, and I'm like, well, damn, he's single-handedly keeping them in the game by just fouling them. But they did a great job all of a sudden. They played him without fouling him. They got their hand in there, got balls out, and James Harden, he was getting frustrated because he normally gets the calls that he didn't get last night, Skip. You know how he likes to go to the basket, flare thing, throws his arms up in the air. They normally blow the whistle. Well, last night, they let him play a little bit last night. And I think that kind of affected James Harden. He looked like the James Harden that we've seen a couple of times in the playoff games. He's cold early, Skip, doesn't seem to get into a flow of the ball game, and it kind of took him out of his ball game. Last night, 3 of 17, 3 of 7 from the three-point line. He only attempted 2 free throws. James Harden is normally good for at least at the bare minimum. He's not what he once was early in Houston where he's going to the line 11, 12 times a game. But he normally goes to the free throw line, Skip, 6, 7, 8 times a game, only 2. I thought they did a good job of that. I think Steve Nash said, look, guys, let's keep these guys off the free throw line. They didn't do that early with Joel Embiid, but I thought the Brooklyn Nets played really, really well. We know what they represent offensively, especially KD and Kyrie. Now, if you're going to get this kind of production from Seth Curry, and you're going to get, who is this? James Jones, James Johnson.
Yeah,
go come out the bench
he
and
made
give
all
you
3 of his 3.
Yeah, he gonna give you 16.
No, he's been around.
Yeah,
he can play. He is a veteran difference maker for a good team.
He does a lot of the dirty work.
He does.
He'll defend LeBron James. He'll try to hold on against Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's his job. Yeah, like you said, he does a lot of the dirty work, a lot of the grunt work. Get you some rebounds. He'll give you some tough, hard fouls. But I just thought the Brooklyn Nets came out and asserted themselves early. Let them know, bro, it's not going to be that type of game tonight. Kevin Durant said, they were playing inspired basketball for Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons had no impact on this game. Ben Simmons had nothing because Ben Simmons has been on this team for the last, basically a month now. And they were still losing ball games. But I want to give, it's not so much what the Sixers didn't do, it's what the Brooklyn Nets did do. They played extremely well. They shot the ball well. Outscored them by 24 in the first half from the three-point line, and Philly could never find a rhythm. Give Brooklyn Nets credit. They were the better team last night.
My turn to answer Jen's question once again. My biggest takeaway from last night was Shannon Sharpe. I keep telling you so. I keep telling you, you better watch the Brooklyn Nets. They're better than the Sixers, especially if they can ever get Ben Simmons right. And at least he was right enough last night to actually put on some practice gear and come out before the game at Philadelphia.
And pass the ball to Patty Mills.
Pass the ball to Patty Mills, his big brother from Australia, who sat next to him and sort of held his hand all night on the bench. And at least Ben Simmons then donned a Louis Vuitton hockey sweater.
Oh, what you know about that?
In black and gold or yellow gold, and he sat on the bench.
Yes, he did.
And at least he got his feet wet, experienced the negativity that he was going to experience one way or the other going back to Philadelphia. And at least in the pregame warm-ups, he got to hear the chants of shoot the ball, or F Ben Simmons, F Ben Simmons.
Well.
And a couple of rowdy Sixers fans before the game had to be escorted out. And at least they kept it to a low roar. And as Kevin Durant said, that it's hard for you to chant at Ben Simmons when you're losing by that much. So that's what they did, right?
Well, Skip, did you see him? He dunked on the end that he passed the shot up, and everybody started clapping for it.
Okay, fine. But to your point, the biggest takeaway for me was that the Brooklyn Nets won this game for Ben Simmons. I believe they came out. You said it had nothing to do with Ben Simmons, but I believe that they were motivated because, as Kevin said after the game, I think all of us were motivated to win this game for Ben Simmons. And then Kyrie went even deeper. He said, so when we played tonight, we definitely felt like Ben was in our heart. If you come at Ben, you come at us. So they were possessed to go win this game, and not just win it, but to bury the home team.
Okay, if they were playing for Ben, if Ben was in their heart, where was James Harden? I think they wanted to beat James Harden more than they wanted to win the game for Ben Simmons. Because remember, Skip, now, he wanted out. He was there. He's like, you know what? I know y'all KD and I know Kyrie, but I want to go elsewhere. So don't think that wasn't on their mind either.
I would agree. And to that point, I will read my final tweet of the night for you. As I keep saying on Undisputed, when have you ever been able to trust James Harden in a big game? Tonight, 3 for 17. Better get used to it, Sixers fans. Harden quit his way to the Nets, and now he has quit his way to Philadelphia, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that it was all of the above, all rolled into one. It was for Ben Simmons and against James Harden.
Yes.
And I thought they did a defensive number on a guy they know very well because he was one of them, obviously, and they have practiced. I don't know how much James actually practiced, but they have practiced some against him. Not much lately. And yet, he missed, as we know, 14 shots. 3 of 17.
11 of his first 12.
Wow. And basically shot them out of the game in the first quarter as the Sixers the Nets shot their way, shot the Sixers right out of the game. Can I remind you, as I have before, of some of the fairly recent history of James Harden in big games? Now, these are all playoff games, but I'm going to remind everybody, 2015, at Golden State in the closeout game.
Right.
NBA playoff record, 12 turnovers in that game, okay? 2017 against my San Antonio Spurs in Houston in what was the closeout game. They lost
with
by
no Kawhi.
39 with no Kawhi and no Tony Parker.
Yeah, that was bad.
And in that game, James scored a total of 10 points with 3 rebounds, 7 assists, and 6 more turnovers. Shot 2 of 11 from the floor and 2 of 9 from 3. Yeah. Then in the conference finals in 2018, remember, they're up 3-2 on mighty Golden State. CP3 gets hurt, pulled his hamstring, and he's out. And in those final 2 games, here's James's total combined numbers. He's 22 of 53 from the floor. That's 42%. He's 6 of 25 in games 6 and 7 from 3. 6 of 25 from 3. That's 24%. And then we've got 2019, when they're obviously tied with Golden State 2-2, and go look at what happens in games 5 and 6, just disappear. And then, of course, last year there was the game 7 at home against Milwaukee. The KD has toenail on the line shot game.
The man was hurt on that.
Okay. Well, he's supposedly dragging around a hamstring that is always there for him in his back pocket as his first.
That was the first time he ever had to talk about a hamstring. You talk about breaking up
in that game against the eventual champion Milwaukee Bucks. He shoots 5 of 17 and 2 of 12 from 3. Do you see a recurring pattern here, Mr. Sharpe? I present exhibits A, B, C, D, E, and F. F is in fail, right? And this is James Harden. This is who you love in Philadelphia, who I don't love, because I do trust Joel in big games. I just never quite trust his health.
Well, Joel didn't play particularly well last night, Skip. He was 5 of 17. He was 2 of 3, but most of his points came from the free throw line. As we mentioned earlier, he did have 19 points.
Nobody can get to the free throw line like Joel.
And then all of a sudden, Skip, he started complaining and wanting calls, and he wasn't getting those calls, and now they're pushing out. They forced 20 turnovers by the Sixers, which turned into 28 points. You turn the ball over, now all of a sudden you get runouts. You get guys laying up. You get Seth Curry running to the three-point line. You see Kyrie ran to the three-point line, hit one right before the end of the first quarter. They played well. Give them credit, Skip. For me, I don't want to make it too much about the Sixers, because the Sixers didn't play well. But I'd like to think the Brooklyn Nets had a lot to do with that. They did a lot of getting their hands on the ball because they know James Harden has to bring the ball up. They did a great job of getting the ball out without fouling him, because they could have easily put him on the free throw line. They didn't do that last night. Give them credit. And you cannot let Kyrie and KD go off, because if you let both of those guys get locked in, you got a long, long night unless you got a Jason Tatum on the other side or a guy on the other side that's cooking, that's matching them shot for shot,
Yeah.
you're going to get blown out like they got blown out last night.
Is it fair to say, Mr. Sharpe, that the Nets have the two best scorers in basketball?
Yeah.
Like
on the same team.
The skill set is just like off the charts.
Yeah.
It's like top 5 all-time skill set. I'm talking about just bags, if you want to go bags.
Yeah, you talk about
ability to make shots.
Offensive guys on one team.
Firepower.
In their prime. I don't know.
Okay, so when they cook, when both of them cook, and they don't have to score 50 because they scored almost 50 together.
Right.
But if Kevin's going to get 25 and Kyrie's going to get 22, and let's not sleep on Seth Curry getting 24
on 10 of 14.
On 10 of 14, and he's going to make 4 of 8 threes. And if Patty Mills is going to come off the bench and not play that much, but he makes 2 threes, and to your point, James Johnson makes 3 threes. There's so much firepower involved here. It's hard to deal with it because where do you plug your leak? There are too many leaks that are going to be sprung all over your defense.
Exactly, Skip. And the thing was, they shot 56% from the floor. The only thing that they didn't do well last night is shoot the ball from the free throw line. They were 9 of 17 from the free throw line, or it might have gotten worse than what it actually got.
Yeah.
Because Joel was minus 30, James Harden was everybody, all the starters were at least minus 23.
Okay, and your man, the ex-Laker, the Big Penguin, Andre Drummond, as they call him, Big Drum, he gave you 3 block shots.
Yeah.
Well, it's a big deal and Kevin in his post-game interview on TNT, immediately, because Drum walked by him, but he was congratulating him for his huge presence against Joel because he's just huge.
You got to have Skip. If they don't have Drummond, you basically going to be asking Claxton, and you're going to be asking LaMarcus Aldridge to try to deal with him. Skip, they don't have enough. At least Drummond, he's not fleet of foot, but he's a large man.
Yeah.
Now, he's probably given up. What do you think he's given up? Probably 40 pounds.
Yes.
To Joel Embiid.
Absolutely.
But Claxton's giving up 100 pounds to Joel Embiid.
100 pounds, and you talk about light in the back pocket.
Yeah.
He's about as light as you can
Exactly.
get.
Because you see how when Joel was turning, he cleared out Drummond. Skip, remember he hit Drummond in the chest.
He did.
And Drummond went flying. And Drummond's got to be 275, 280.
He might be 300.
He might be. He might be, Skip. While you playing, he might be, Skip.
Okay, and I haven't brought up the fact that they have recently added Goran Dragic, who once again tied for the lead with Kevin in assists on his team with 7 in only 22 minutes.
Right.
My point is, he can settle them. He can do things that Kyrie really can't do as a distributor, as a quarterback.
He's a true point guard, Skip. He's a true facilitator. Kyrie is at 2. When you put Kyrie at 2 and let him play off the ball, now, they clear out the side, let him get in his bag, you at his mercy. Because he still can do that. Yeah. And now he's hitting the 3 ball. He got the 3 ball going. He was, 5 of 11 from 3. KD's 3 of 6. 4 of 8 from Seth Curry. Well, what you going to do? Those 3 guys go 12 or 25. More times than not, you're going to lose the game. Now, I'm not saying you're going to lose by 29, 30, but if you let those guys get cooking from the 3, I don't know how you beat them.
Okay, and to me, the turning point of the night came with about 1:11 left in the first quarter. The game was already teetering on blowout. And I'm going to first quote your man, LeBron James, who immediately tweeted about this.
Right.
I love that the refs let KD and Joel Embiid talk to each other and didn't tech them up.
Yes.
That's dope, understanding the assignment, understanding the context. Let them beef it up.
It ain't no situation where it's going to get out of hand, no confrontation. They got too much respect for each other, and they walk right up to each other and whisper something. Hey, you know it's like that tonight. You know what's going to happen tonight, right? All right, we will see.
All right, there we go. And now you see it. Now you see it. Now you see it. Now you see it. And I immediately tweeted. I tweeted a warning to Joel: don't make that man mad, because if you make number 7 mad, you're in for it, because he will cook you. And he started to cook them because he is another one, like LeBron. If you push the wrong button in him, as in the right button for the Nets, you better be careful, because he's unguardable.
Right.
And he will take over a game the way nobody can, because you just simply can't stop the mid-range.
Right.
He'll score and score and score, and he'll do it efficiently, and he'll do it on low-volume shot-taking.
The mere fact that Kevin Durant was down in the post against Joel Embiid and was willing to take one in the chest, lets you know what the magnitude of this moment, Skip. This meant something to them. They wanted to send a message, now, Skip. Don't think they didn't want to send a message. Not only to the league, not only to the Sixers, but James, you see what you had? All you had to do was stay patient. All you had to do was stay patient, bro. But I agree with LeBron. I love the fact, because now, Skip, every time, you start jogging, double tech, like, stop. Everything is not about to be no malice in the palace.
No.
Y'all interjecting yourself. Nobody come to see y'all give anybody a tech. I get it. Sometimes, Skip, a tech is warranted. But I agree, in that situation right there, there's two competitors going at it, letting them know, I'm not backing down. I'm not backing down either. Okay, well, keep coming.
Okay, what's the context? What's their history? They're not hotheads. They're not punch throwers, right?
Yeah.
Kevin's not a fighter. I mean, he will fight back as far as on the scoreboard.
Right.
But they're not going to get to go all the way to fisticuffs.
They have a healthy respect for each other.
Yeah.
You've heard what Kevin Durant has said about Joel Embiid.
Well, you raved about him.
Right. Joel Embiid has said about Kevin Durant.
Absolutely.
So that was just, hey, I ain't going nowhere, bro. I'm going to be right here.
Okay. The Nets are not going away. I realize they're just barely hanging in the play-in tournament, but there's a good chance they might get to face, who knows? How about Philly in the first round? Is that a possibility? Sure, it's a possibility.
Well, right now, Philly is the 3 seed. So you believe they can get all the way up to the 6th?
Hey, as Reggie Miller was speculating last night on TNT, we don't know about the vax mandate being lifted in New York City by the new mayor.
Right.
Well, is it coming? There's been speculation. I don't know. That's out of my league, out of my hands.
Right.
But if it does get lifted at some point pretty soon, you better be careful, because this team, he's played enough, even in road games, that they're starting to click together.
He has a rhythm, yeah.
Yeah, you can see they got a rhythm.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. They have 11 games at home in Brooklyn, and one, I think they have one at MSG. So that's going to be 11 games that he misses.
Yep.
And he has 5 at home.
No, I got that. But
5 on the road.
Okay. Where is Ben Simmons in this equation? I have no idea.
Skip. You tell me so we both know.
I did love that he was at least there. I did love that he survived the night. He got through it. He experienced it.
But, Skip, you do know booing while somebody's on the bench as opposed to when you got the ball dribbling and they booing every time.
Totally agree.
That's a whole different...
Okay, but it was better than nothing.
Right.
And it was at least a little bit of a positive sign that maybe he's on the verge of coming back. I don't know if he's had a back issue or if he's still fighting with his psychological demons.
Hell, it might be a combination. His back might be bad, and he still might be fighting
I'm with
the
you.
demons.
It could be. But the point is, I'm a much bigger fan of him than you are.
Yeah.
You say offensive liability. Yeah. I say basketball player.
You believe that his defensive assets are greater than his liabilities on offense.
And his passing assets, because he is a facilitator of the highest order.
Yeah.
He is I'm not saying he's LeBron-esque, but he's up in there as one of the top passers in the league at 6'10".
I think the thing for them, Skip, is that they're going to have a guy, if you face let's just say you face a Chicago, and you need somebody to try to do something with DeRozan or Levine, he's one of the guys. Okay, you play Milwaukee. I think he's too small to bang with Giannis. Giannis is a different animal. But Chris Middleton might be a possibility.
Well, all he did is he took Trae Young out of that Game 7, 5 for 23.
Holiday
you can do
might
that.
Be a possibility.
6'10", long, agile, quick feet, long and 6'10". And I remind everybody, Rookie of the Year, 3 straight All-Star appearances, and 2 straight first-team All-Defenses. It doesn't grow on trees, and it's the perfect complement to the firepower they already have. It can only make their defense immeasurably better. Well, if he's coming back within the next week, they got a chance to do some damage.
So you probably go, if you start Ben Simmons, that means probably Bruce Brown is going to the bench, who's a very good defensive guy, but then you strengthen your second unit.
You do. And remember, LaMarcus Aldridge didn't play.
He didn't play last night.
And Blake Griffin has fallen completely out of the rotation. I don't know.
Hold on. Somebody had tweeted something. The guard, Javon Carter, he went to Milwaukee. He said how great it is to be playing, yada, yada, yada. And Blake Griffin tweeted like, what's that like?
Okay.
You know, with the crowd.
Maybe they're saving him for the playoffs.
No, they did. No. They're not saving for no playoffs.
A Philly Nets playoff face-off is a very interesting concept, guys. The Nets right now have 33 in the loss column. Cleveland sits at 6 with 27 in the loss column.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.